We're live.
All right, we're live. I know the last time we tried this, we had technical difficulties on my end, which is not unusual. But okay, here we are. Let me check with my channel real quick. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So meet the live video, and then
a little bit of a delay, but that's all right. All right, well, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Right on, man. Thanks for having me.
Just a standard disclaimer. This is Finn as a WBJF production. The views and opinions expressed on this show do not represent any other person or organization and are solely those of the participants.
Right on.
So now that that's out of the way, you had coronavirus.
Yeah.
Tell us about your experience with the Rona.
I'm in the cool kids club. I got it. I think I got the Delta. I am fully vaccinated, but I got the Pfizer vaccination. But nevertheless, it got me. And I'm not a big socialite. After work, I go to the store, pick up some goods, come home, and hang on to the man cave. And somewhere or another, I got it. I mean, it could be because I have a anxiety sometimes, and I do bite my nails on occasion. It could be a surface contact, or it could have been somebody at work that was just hot and floating it, and I don't know. But I did get it. It wasn't because this is my opinion, mind you, not me advocating anything, but because I was fully vaccinated, and I that's part one, I think, is that it did spare me from getting the blunt of it that some people get, all the effects. I got congestion, cough. That's I kind of knew that morning I got it, and then some fatigue and a little bit of headaches. But I did get a loss of appetite, and I didn't eat for 3 days. Just didn't have the motivation to do it or the energy. But other than that, I didn't get what some people experience, where they get beat up really bad, and then you get the chills, the body aches, like full flu features, and then some, or they have to get hospitalized. I was lucky not to get that, and I attribute that again through my opinion of being fully vaccinated, and also because I lost a lot of weight. I lost over 100 pounds in the last couple of years, and over some time, and I used to weigh 317 pounds. I'm like down to 208, 206, whatever. It fluctuates, but I think that's part of it, because they say if you're obese, I've been there, and it's when you start getting your lungs and flared up, the more stuff you got going on inside you, as far as body mass, whatnot, does not help, amongst other things as well. It was like the beginning of August, like July 31st, and it's been 2 months, and I was still testing positive as of late August. But they say you can test positive, depending on you, up to 90 days. You're only really infectious for around 11 days, roughly, and unless you're carrying on symptoms, severe symptoms, and you have to get that looked into. But no, I'm good. It's been 2 months and 2.5 months, actually, and I'm okay, man. God bless.
Yeah, I'm glad you pulled through. I absolutely believe that being vaccinated helps you. Should you be a breakthrough case, all the evidence I have heard, or at least from the people whose opinions I respect, I believe that's absolutely right. I too am vaccinated. I got the Johnson & Johnson, and to be honest with you, I think I had coronavirus in 2019, right at the very end of the year, before we knew what it was. I got deathly ill after Christmas. They chalked it up to just severe influenza, but that was right before 2020, and this whole thing unraveled. But I'm pretty sure I had it. I didn't get vaccinated until I think it was June or July this year. So I definitely waited, and I have my reasons for that. They're not political. They're very personal, but I'm glad I did, and I'm very pro-vaccine. But I'm glad you're okay, and I'm glad that all worked out. I want to talk
Oh,
a little bit about how we met, and because I've kind of been a fan of your channel for a long time. So I don't remember which year it was, but you did a review at my day job. You would come in for an event, and you shot a video, and I think I almost came. I want to say I found it by accident. I
it's
came up
2000.
on it from searching something with my business. And yeah, I found your video and I was like, hey, I recognize who this guy is. I recognize the voice. There had been some interaction between you and I. But yeah, I came up on the video almost by accident. And I went, you know what? Next time I see this guy, I've got to tell him thanks. Thanks for doing a good video on our location and giving us such a positive review. It was very positive. And I liked, your other content. I found myself kind of going through it, and it was really awesome. So I think I approached you one day. I recognized your voice. You had asked me about something, and I went, hey, you're that Edge guy. And we just kind of clicked and started talking a little bit more and became friends. And I love your channel.
Well, thank you, man. It was around 2015, roughly. I beginning in the process of losing weight. And 2013 is when I kind of had an eye opener that I went to the gym after I got back from Acapulco, my best friend's wedding. And when I got back, I was like, I never stepped on the scale in years because I just didn't really want to know. And then, so I did. And I saw I was like 317 pounds or 18 pounds. And I'm like, I need to lose some weight. So I started the process of just dieting and not eating as much. And slowly but surely, I got down to like at the time it's like a 42 waist, which I'm down like a 36 now, 34, whatever. But I started. I'm gonna go shop for some gear because I bought a pair of 511 pants like on eBay, secondhand. I liked them, but they're a little, they had some wear to them. So I wanted to go to a place that's local, support a local business that, even though it's not a small business, but it's a local business to Texas, from what I understand, and I wanted to check it out, and everybody was very positive. They greeted me, asked me, what I needed, and when I told them, no, I'm just gonna look around and be the store, they weren't pestering me, following you around like, okay, well, let me tell you about this gear. And when I asked something, they had the answers. I like that. So the people knew the product, they wore the product. They weren't just selling the product. I've worked in retail before, and I know that there are certain times where, mainly in a corporate environment, to tell you, hey, this company is paying money to get to sell this product. Spiffs. If you're in retail industry, you might, or commission, you might understand what that means. Where they pay you, okay, these pair of pants today, or I'm just generalizing. When I worked in, it was electronics and appliances. So this washer and dryer is going to sell today, and they're giving $20 per each sell. So you might want to push this item, make some money today. And I didn't get that vibe because there's so many people that are fanboys of certain products. 511, I like True Spec, and I like 511. They're just a little more on the higher tier as far as cost in retail. But with cause, they make a great product. And then you got True Spec, and I believe I forget that other brands at the very, not bottom as far as quality, but as far as price, Prospect, or I forget the name. Proper. Okay.
Yeah.
And they make a decent product. If you want to wear something and you're gonna make Condor as well. You need to wear something, and you're not gonna beat it up all day. You're not wearing it every day. A lot of people want to jump full in when they get into the whole tech industry, and they want to buy the best. And there's even more expensive gear that you guys don't even carry, but you can jump up there and spin on Acertex, or I remember that brand is, and so on. And you can really spend a lot of money, burn through some money real quick. And realistically, at the end of the day, you really might absorb or use that product to its full potential, Vertex and so on. I'm a fan of the products, but I like having the ability to look at different products and check them out and pick what's best for my budget and what I'm going to use it for. I'm going to apply it to, because it's just like in the AR industry. Some people go full blown big money, buy Daniel Defense and so on, and Lewis Tech and all this other stuff. And then some people realize that an AR is an AR, and you can just build one very simply and such, and not have to waste a lot of money when you're not going to be defending a country with it or contracting. So very appreciative of the salespeople over the years that I've met at at the store. When I walk in, they're always, they make the time to greet you, ask you what you need, if they can help you, when they're available. And I've never had a bad experience at the store. Always a great staff.
So a little bit of backstory to anybody that might watch this. Yeah, I've worked in the tactical industry for almost a decade, and currently I'm more of an administrator and more of an operations manager. But that's always good to hear because part of my job is customer feedback, whether I know you or not. I mean, it's always good to hear from people that I know personally, like yourself. But I'm supposed to take care of everybody that comes in there. And that's good to hear. I try to apply the lessons in management to the staff about taking care of people. You hear the customer is always right. Well, that's not really true, and we all know that. But we definitely want to make sure everybody gets taken care of and at least finds what they need. And if they can't, that we help them. Most of us that work in that industry tend to get a little on the snobby side, but there's a reason for that. Me personally, when it comes to any sort of gear or tactical equipment, I'm the guy that would rather save my money and buy something high end. You're absolutely right when it comes to certain firearms and things like that. I agree. However, I still think, yeah, you get what you pay for, and it's really up to that individual what they're going to end up spending their money on. But you do get what you pay for. If there's one truth about my industry, that is definitely it. I mean, as far as gear goes, yeah, to a guy that's not using it every day, or he's not in a situation where he's going to be going overseas or something like that, a low-end product probably will take care of him. Hey, I just want this stuff to be on standby. If something happens, it's there. But I mean, it's all relative. In the event you might need that stuff, might being maybe, how much are you willing to invest in it? So that's an interesting point. But getting back to your channel, yeah, man, I know you've put out some really awesome stuff. You've gotten a lot of views. How many subscribers does your channel have right now?
Right under 3,000. I mean, you get what you put into it. If you really work hard and hustle and put a lot of energy in that channel, and you have a clear message that people relate to, you can get up there. I did it for a while. I was heavily vested in it, but I'm big in firearms. I love firearms. I just haven't bought a bunch in a few because life happens, and nothing drastic or anything. But you have other things that come along with kids, raising them and whatnot, and things change for as far as your perspective of what you need to get done immediately and what you don't. But yeah, I mean, we started off. Started watching a bunch of YouTubers in back in the day, 2009-ish, seeing them doing a bunch of gun videos, interesting stuff, learning little by little all the stuff they related that I was interested in. And I met a lot of people. I networked very well and got to meet a bunch of people in my chats back in the day. And some pseudo celebrities and whatnot, like James Yeager. I met him in person. I was in chats with him. Several other big, large YouTube channels that I've gotten to network with and talk to and know on a personal level. And it inspired me to do it, to start making videos. And it's funny because at the time I was heavy set, and I still am, but I'm not as big. But I used to get a lot of feedback from people. Some people say, there's always some trolls that say some nasty stuff, can't help themselves, or like doing it. But there's some people where that's what kind of did where it touched you or touched me. That they say, hey man, I'm heavy set like you, and I like you're making this video because not everybody's skinny and ripped or in the best shape or a Navy SEAL, and I see you making these videos demonstrating products and and pistols and rifles and such. And if you can do it, I can do it. I can get on my butt and do this too, and it's inspiring, and that kept me going for so long. And I just haven't done a whole bunch. I started transitioning to cooking videos somewhat. Again, bunch of gun chats and other stuff that we did, and then I started doing cooking videos. One of my big hobby or passions is cooking, and not so much as just making making the family something to eat, but really putting something together. And I believe cooking, once you get to a certain level, I'm not a chef or anything, but once you get to a certain level, you're not cooking anymore. You're expressing yourself artistically, and that's why when people used to watch Bob Ross videos way back in the day, and they're like, he made it look like he was just he was etching, he was just he's doodling, and all of a sudden this masterpiece is formed, and you're like, dude, I could never do that, because he got to that level that he could just do it effortlessly. I'm gonna do a painting of a meadow with trees around it and fish and such, and he could make it seem like he at the same time talking, communicating with the camera. It was effortlessly, but it wasn't. He was just that skilled and at that skill set that he had, that he got there. And that's the way I feel about cooking. You get there, and eventually you're not really cooking, and you make it look easy, but it's not. You just got that good, and you get there eventually. And a lot of stuff that you apply yourself to when people get into firearms, tac training, drills, and all kinds of stuff. That may be irrelevant to other people, but it's irrelevant to you. I'm not gonna get off topic here, but preppers were crazy people, 6-7 years ago or 10 years ago, and now they're people. I'm sure preppers are getting a lot of attention on YouTube with hopefully their ideology and their mindset, and their video content they're making is good. But people are looking to them, buying generators, buying food, storing food, prepping water, all that stuff. Disaster scenario. What they call it, the bug out bags and such. It's not just a bunch of crazies anymore. It's people that are being looked to get knowledge.
Well, we had the freeze last year,
Sure.
which is a big topic here in Texas and abroad, for that matter. I've had people message me from other states that heard about what had happened here in Texas, and my family always kind of thought I was borderline overkill whenever I would buy food, water, supplies for things. I just like to have that stuff. I guess I'm a prepper, but only in the sense that the unknown is bound to happen at some point, and it's nice to have that stuff, man. Look, if you don't have food and water and supplies to sustain you for whatever disaster could potentially happen, to me, I think you're kind of kidding yourself. And unfortunately, that's what happened here in Texas. Was a lot of people learned really quick how ill prepared they were for a disaster. Now, that disaster is obviously very rare, but if you look at other parts of the country where you have tornadoes, you have hurricanes, you have earthquakes. Being someone from California, that's earthquake country. People out there, say what you want, but they've adjusted to the idea that when earthquakes happen, you may be without power. You may be without natural gas. You're not going to be able to go to the gas station. You might not be able to get to the grocery store. Those are just realities. And yeah, a lot of people kind of made fun of me for being prepared for those types of things. But, at my house, during that whole freeze over, I never once had to look at emergency supplies. I had them, but I thought, hey, this is a great opportunity, being that the power's coming and going, to clean out the freezer, and I can put the stuff that's frozen into the fridge and use it as a big cooler. And, I didn't realize I had this. Let's go barbecue. We had a blast, bro. We had a blast. I think the worst we had it was having to heat water, manually when we did have electricity, and take kind of like camp showers. That was the worst I had it. It was generally a good time at my house. You mentioned being, pro 2A. I want to talk a little bit about the consequences of that as far as YouTube is concerned, other social media, because, being pro 2A does indeed have some consequences. What have you suffered personally from that, as far as your YouTube channel, social media, and what have you noticed about other people who have suffered as well?
Well, there was a time right after Barack Obama got elected, and people went crazy, buying guns, or not. I'm sorry, I wouldn't use that terminology, crazy, or that word. But they got aggressive, and they were out buying a lot of guns they'd put off on. One day I'm going to buy an AR. One day I'm going to buy, especially ARs. One day I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy that. And they went and bought it in droves, and it they were seeking out information. These are new users to firearms that haven't used them before. And just like me, when I was a novice to it, I went to YouTube and saw a bunch of videos, made my own, made my own notes and information, and got what I think was best for me. Well, a bunch of people were doing that, and there was a big surge in viewership for gun related material, gun channels, if you will.
Right. Right.
And so there were a lot of people flourished, and they were making some coin off YouTube ads or YouTube revenue. Um, and they did well, and and then, but problem is that popular opinion, YouTube's owned by Google, and Google's very liberal on their policies as far as caving into popular politics and demands, and they started little by little, just dictating what you can and can't do. When the whole fun of YouTube was is that you can go out there and either make a video of your dog, doing something silly, or you falling on your butt, and then all these genre of videos that you could look up: cooking, camping, prepping, and such, and gun videos, how tos and whatnot. So all these channels blew up pretty big and were making some money. But then when they made it a point to make it that guns are bad and we're gonna start stepping on you guys, a lot of those guys that were in that in the top echelon of channels with viewership and subscriptions saw the revenue go to crap, because now they put them in algorithm that you're at the, like, if I really don't want to watch a video of a 1911 disassembly or something, I had to really search for it, because it was not going to come up. No matter, it would not, they would not populate in your 10, and they call it shadow banning, would not populate at all in the first 10 searches. And some people have the attention span to keep searching and searching and searching, like 10 pages 10 pages later, of going through each row. So it hit them pretty hard. I never made a bunch of money. I made a little, but it's definitely, well, a whole lot less, than now, because if you want to watch a video of mine, unless you're a subscriber, you're gonna have to really dig for that either hashtag or description to find it. So that's part of it. Amongst family members and such, I have a lot of friends like you and other family that I know that are they're pro gun, but to an extent. And then when they see you, like you said, prepping was considered crazy. In 2000, and a couple years ago, we got open carry in Texas, and people said, there's going to be gunfights in the street, over shopping carts and
Right.
at Walmart or whatever. And the same thing, now we have constitutional carry in Texas. And again, I haven't heard of anything outside of the normal crazy, because there is a surge of violence going on. People just losing their crap for silly reasons, and just not being proper people, in my opinion. So that's just normal violence that's escalating. But I have not seen anything. We've had constitutional carry for over a month now, and I'm not seeing any shootouts, in downtown or the area where I live and such, or the south side, the west side, that are known, the southeast side, and they're kind of known for pockets of areas that have shootings and whatnot. Your average shootings are average shootings and whatnot at a bar and pubs and whatnot and parking lots. There's no increase. But people want to label you, and well, no, you're one of those. I go, well, yeah, I want to defend my family and I want to live freely, and I don't want to wait for a police person to get there after the fact that I had to use deadly force or have to put me in a body bag to do so, because I was waiting for somebody to save me. So I mean, there's those repercussions, but for the most part, most people know that I'm in the guns, and I'm ready to protect myself and my family. But other than that, I mean, as far as Pro 2A stuff, just the usual people that don't agree with you and think that you're not helping, but those people aren't even prepared to help themselves. That's the silly part, is they want to complain about your ideology and the way you think about stuff, but yet they won't take a stand for themselves. Yet if the crap hits the fan, I would imagine you're in the room, I know they're going to look at you like, what are you going to do?
Right. Well, it's no secret. I'm obviously, and not just because of the business I'm in, but just as something personal to me, I'm very pro 2A. as long as it is in the realm of good people. I don't want kids to get guns. I don't want people that are bad to get guns. There is, let's be honest, a group of people out there that are questionable, and the idea that everybody should just have guns, I'm not sure that I agree with that. There's definitely people who I do not want to see obtain guns. But that's probably a whole other topic.
I think you should have the right to do so as long as you're legally qualified to do so.
Right, and you're right. When open carry was enacted, everybody, all these naysayers said this would happen and that would happen. Well, it never did. And now with the constitutional carry, which is something I know you're very passionate about and knowledgeable about, you're right. I'm not seeing, shootouts happening in the street outside. All the things that people said would happen who were naysayers have been proven wrong.
Well, shoot, dude, you're in the industry. You would know. It was the next day after September 1st. Did you have a line of people waiting to buy holsters, to fit their new gun that they're going to carry without a license, which is another topic altogether?
Well, and I'm definitely an advocate for education. I don't care what it is, but when it comes to firearms, I definitely support education, at least something, because I see it all the time. I see plenty of people who point guns at me. People that claim, well, I've had a license to carry for X amount of years or whatever.
Clear, yeah.
Right. So there's always that group that the focus should be education.
No, let's say you go and buy a lawnmower and you never cut grass over your life. You're privileged. You mean when I was like 10 years old to the rest until I was like 19 or 20 when I moved out, I was cutting the lawn every 2 weeks. But if you never handle a lawnmower, and I'm not trying to belittle the situation or the comparison with you two, but you don't know better, then you better not wear flip-flops when you're cutting the lawn, or you might lose a toe. If that lawnmower rolls over your toe, you might not know that. And you might not know that also, double feeds, all kinds of stuff that happen with pistols and rifles, and that you need to have a fair knowledge of and seek knowledge from professionals to help you get a better assessment, so you don't do something silly that costs you your life.
Right. And I would also say, there's this assumption that, well, that person has a license to carry a handgun, or that person took a hunting safety course or something. They must be super proficient in whatever it is they're doing. And I, as someone who has had a license to carry a handgun for a long time, I will tell you that I think it's probably too easy to obtain that license. I don't want to get too political about it, but I think it's very bare bones. It's very minimal. It shows minimal proficiency, but at the same time, it's something. And that's, again, all I advocate for. You want to own a gun, that's your right. You want to have these things and protect yourself and those around you, completely. I am 100% an advocate for that. But let's not lose sight of proficiency and being able to do something correctly and safely, and let's harness that ability. So, yeah, your channel, again, which is one of those channels I've spent a lot of time surfing, brother. Like I do enjoy a lot of your videos. I'm not just saying that because I know you. You put out some really cool stuff. But yeah, this shift with cooking, I'm one of those guys. I know you said not a lot of people were super into it. I was into it. I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. I like to cook. People have suggested, maybe that I shoot some videos about cooking because I have these kind of like ancient family recipes, or I've got something that maybe someone has never seen before. And I've thought about that. That might be something that I decide to do.
Some kimchi.
That's one thing I have no clue how to make. Everybody always says that. They're like, "Oh, you're part Korean. You should, it's like, well, you own a gun, so you must be totally proficient at using it, right?" I let that one go. But yeah, man, the ones that I have seen, and if you haven't seeing Edge's channel, EDGE4006 on YouTube. You got a Facebook page too, right?
I'm not so much heavily in the Facebook page, but I do have an Instagram page. Is Edge at Instagram, or Edge 4006 at Instagram, and I'm there. If I do post stuff, I'm not as active as I was, but I will post stuff. I mean, I have a lot of ideas, but once you've been doing it for a while, sometimes you talk yourself out of making the video. I'm like, it's gonna be a bunch of work. You know, I'm like, geez, Louise, because I don't want to make a ham and egg video. You know, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, here's a new gun. Da, 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 da. I got paid to do this video, or I didn't. I never got paid to do a video. I've been supplied products, but and such. And I've gotten to the point eventually where working with vendors that I just rather purchase a product than work with them specifically, and then sending out the product and being on a timeline I can do when I'm ready. And a lot of reason is my youngest daughter's 17. She's a senior in high school, and I hope she doesn't leave the nest too quick. But whatever time I got with her, I want to spend it with her as she's going through her stuff in school. Especially last year was a big bummer for her being stuck at the house, and this year she's finally get back into her extracurricular stuff with color guard and whatnot. She's the head captain of the color guard. So we just want to show her a bunch of support, and that comes first. Everything else comes secondary, and so on. I know you got a young one too that's probably absorbing a lot of your time as well, and it's just that's the reality of it. Is I will make something, but if I make it, I'm gonna make it the best I can. It's not gonna be super crazy quality content, but it's gonna. I don't have that personality. Some people do, or like you see some guys, they really turn it on when they make the video. Like I've seen a couple of channels, and they're very successful. And they'll be like making the video like, "Hey guys, I'm making this video. Let me show you about the new product I got. Oh my god, guys, it's so exciting!" And they're like, right. And Billy Mays kind of blah blah blah, and I'm like, I can't do that. I don't take myself that serious, and I can't sell it. I sell it the way I feel about the product. I'm not the most energetic person when I do a video, but what I am presenting is what I think you can appreciate, instead of you getting all jazzed up and buying something and finding out it sucks.
Right. Well, I personally don't think I would do very good at reviewing stuff. I've thought about that, or I've said for a long time, hey, if you have a product that you have that you want me to look at, I'll give my 2 cents. Whether or not anybody gives a damn about what I think is a totally separate issue. But when I started This Is Finn, I really was just looking for optics into my life. I wanted to talk to people that I thought were interesting, like yourself, who've had some level of success. I have used, and we're going to get to social media here in a second, but I've used things like Facebook as kind of, again, optics into what I'm thinking at the time, or what I have to say at the time. And as I've gotten older, I've realized I've wanted to share that a lot more. Whether or not anybody is listening or cares is a whole other subject, but I'm not doing it just for monetary gain. I'm doing it because it's something I feel like doing. We got a YouTube comment. We got my buddy Jeff Wyndham is watching. He's a
Jeff,
very good friend and brother. Jeff knows, talk about someone who's 2A knowledgeable. I think it's fair to say that Jeff is very pro 2A and knows a thing or two. I will say that he knows a thing or two, and I don't think that's something we can debate at all. So I'm glad he's out there. I'm glad he's watching. But yeah, man, this, like, my whole project, this channel is a little bit more full feature stuff and an opportunity for me to talk to people like you. If you go to my Facebook page, it's very candid. I use it as sort of like hey, this is what I was thinking, or hey, check this out. As far as reviewing stuff goes, yeah, I've never really thought about that, but cooking, for sure, man. I know a thing or two about some dishes, and if you share it, if you're using yourself as an outlet, and someone else might be interested, I'm very for it. So
I got about 4 cooking videos there. I'm of Mexican heritage, a little bit of different. Mexican, Spanish, French, and then I think it was Apache, whatever. But and I grew up. A lot of people. I grew up in San Antonio until I was around 13 years old. Then moved to Laredo for 9 years. My parents moved there. They're from that area. And then in 2019, into 1998, beginning 1999, I moved back to San Antonio, and I lived here ever since. And so that little this, little that, and as far as experience to different cultures and food and whatnot, I love Asian food. I'm a big Chinese guy. I love Vietnamese food. I love pho, and that's one to tackle right there. You want to make some pho? Good lord, it takes. I mean, the best restaurants take like 5 days to make the broth even before they serve it. It's a
Right.
big process, and such. Korean barbecue, I understand, is very. I've never had much, but I understand it's very, very flavorful, and a lot of people are a big fan of Korean barbecue and
You've
such.
never
But
had Korean barbecue?
no, not specifically. No,
Oh my gosh. Well, we got to remedy that, bro.
had a little Japanese food, a little this, a little that. Vietnamese, Thai. I love Thai food.
Yeah, I know. I know you do. And yeah, you're pretty rounded. You're pretty rounded. Do you have any like ancient family recipes or like secret recipes that you have?
No, just stuff that I picked up from my ex-wife's mother. My ex-wife's mother that taught me to make a couple things, and I grabbed. Oh, okay, outside of my father's brisket, that he taught me how to make, and going over the years, doing barbecue and fajita and such and this and that. Those are recipes he kind of gave me the base, and then I just kind of added my own flair to it to enhance the flavors. And same thing with some of the stuff I make. I'm the wing stuff. I taught myself milanesa, which is basically like a chicken fried steak. Um, I got an old recipe and just worked at it, worked at it, worked at it over the years till you get it to where you like it and such. But of anything in my family would be barbecue. My mom's a decent cook, but I never really picked up a whole bunch because I just kind of started doing it. And I was a young man, and pretty much my oldest sisters, my older sisters were gone from the house. So going up 13 to 22, you just eventually start feeding yourself, making food, and you don't want to eat bland stuff, so you make it interesting.
Well, okay, so a couple of years ago, I went to your birthday party.
Yeah.
That was at your folks' house, right? I
Hmm.
think, yeah, your parents' house. And my God, I remember what you had for dinner. There was quite a bit of people there, including Murphy. Murphy was there, I think, that night. We were having a few drinks and a few laughs. And bro, I'm not saying this to blow smoke up your butt, but whatever they were eating that night, whatever, I don't remember who cooked. I think even you were messing around on the grill, but
I was a cook, and
that,
there was no leftovers.
yeah, I still remember the food at your parents' that night, and it was amazing, amazing. And what was really cool about it was I don't think it was like, well, it's Edge's birthday, so we're going to do something special or whatever. It appeared to me, and I remember talking to your folks, like, this is just normal stuff. This is just stuff we do. Maybe he asked for a very specific dish or whatever, but that was amazing food, bro.
Well,
Incredible.
you're um, matriculating in Laredo. There's a That's why you go to barbecues and people got their own recipes, and how they're going to throw down. Even building the fire is just an argument altogether amongst friends and such. But grilling. But I mean, the thing my dad always taught me is if I'm going to cook, I'm going to cook because or you're in a barbecue. I'm not gonna half-ass it. It's gonna be like crazy, but we're not gonna get cheap. And there's some barbecue you show up to, and with the current inflation, I don't know, but you can buy leg quarters, buy $10 for the leg quarters and feed 30 people. Sometimes in the past, I don't know. I haven't chopped leg. The other day I bought a can of corn. It was $1. It used to be three for $1. So but so he says, I don't get cheap or don't do it at all. I mean, when you got to feed the family, you got to survive. That's a whole different story. But when you're gonna have people over and we want them to enjoy themselves. You're not going to sit there and go like, yeah, guys, I made leg quarters but I do it really good. I'm like, we're not eating that. We're going to eat, steak and fajita and such and this and that. And people that are going to contribute are going to make the stuff that they know how to make. They're not going to sit there and look it up on YouTube that particular day and make it. So that's just the way we roll. I've been to people's barbecues and you're just like, oh Lord, I'm like, yeah, it's just, it's his first crack at it. It looks like, and I'm like, but my dad always had this one rule: you never tell a man what to do in his house, and you don't tell him how to handle the grill unless he asks for help.
Right. Well, having a father myself that is a grill master, and I say that honestly. Like my dad, he makes some of the best tri-tip and ribs that ever. The people used to kill for his barbecue. It's just weird to me, man, because I never felt like I got really good at cooking. I was almost better off in a kitchen than I was at a barbecue. But over the years, I've kind of become more intrigued, especially when it comes to sauces and marinades and things like that. So I'm trying to get better at barbecuing.
They're two different animals. It's like baking. I'm not a baker. And when I watch like MasterChef, I was kind of heavy into that for a while, and I love some of the stuff they do. And then all of a sudden, the episode's like, "Oh, you have to make a cake," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to see this crap. I'll let the wife make the cake." And I'm just not into cakes. I'm not a big sweets guy. Every now and then, a cupcake here and there, or a chocolate bar on occasion. But no, I just don't get all excited. But baking's a crazy art. It's very difficult. And
yeah, that's very precise.
It's you can make or break yourself just with the slightest augmentation to the cooking or the ingredients. And I have respect for people to do it, but it's not something I really ever really want to get into. I'm working on the stuff that I know that I'm really good at.
Right. Well, like I said, I enjoy cooking, and I'm pretty comfortable in the kitchen. I've got a few Asian recipes that I do. As far as stir fry, things like that. I still think, based on people's feedback, I do eggs really well. There's several, you think eggs are kind of boring, and I'm telling you, there are ways to scramble eggs, and there are things you can put in it that most people don't think of that completely transform that whole dish. But barbecue, yeah, I'm going to admit I'm not an expert in barbecue, but I'm learning. I'm at least interested, and I'm trying, and I'm talking to people like you just kind of inspires me more.
It's something like anything. You make an investment in the tools. Like if you want to start working your truck, you can go to AutoZone and pick up a couple of things, but you don't have to go crazy. You don't get Mac or Snap-on. But you have to make an investment in barbecue the same way. If you want to cook right, you need a grill that can hold heat. I have a decent grill. I don't have a fancy one. I don't have a $3,000, divorce grill that the wife's going to take when she leaves me. Kind of thing. That's definitely going in the list of stuff she's going to haul away. I have my friends, they always say, when you get divorced, they're going to take your boat, they're going to take your barbecue pit, and they're going to go after your guns. And like, and the car, the nice car. She's going to leave you with the minivan. But I don't have a fancy grill, but I have a decent one. It's a couple $100s, but it's an investment in stuff you got to make, and then also, like I said, the background and the knowledge, intuition. You want to cook a brisket? I don't know any people I know make brisket, and they dry it out, so they have to cut up in little pieces and make taquitos, and roll them up and deep fry them in the taquitos, because the meat is just dry. It just has no texture, no flavor whatsoever. And I've done a few of them. I've had good success with them. But it's an investment like anything. You want to start really cooking, those $30 set of pots and pans you got aren't going to cut it. You're going to have to put some money into it, get some decent stuff that are thick, that can retain heat, cast iron skillets, utensils that don't scrape your stuff up and mar it. not decent knives. You know, you don't want to cut your hand, cut your fingers off because your blades are dulling. It's just a little bit of investment, but it's worth it because you get to control the content of the food you're eating, depending on your diet, if it's specific, and you get to put a smile on somebody's face. Hopefully, that you're able to make them an awesome meal instead of ordering out.
Right. Very true. Very true. And honestly, I hope you do more videos on cooking, maybe do some stuff at the grill, because I will watch it, and I know I'm not the only one. We talked about the gun stuff and the 2A stuff, and yeah, that's all really good stuff to be talking about, and it's good content. However dangerous it might be to discuss, but keep working on your channel. I hope you get inspired to keep doing what you're doing, and maybe come up with some new stuff. I know it's in you. We've all kind of suffered. This whole last couple of years has really sucked, and it's really affected everybody. It's definitely affected me. But I'd like to have you back at some point. I'd like to have you come back as kind of one of my regulars and talk about some current events and things like that. I do want to thank the people that chimed in and the people that are watching. Feel free, subscribe to my channel, and please share the video, get it out there. We're going to be back. We're going to be talking to some other folks too. Edge, honestly, bro, it was an honor to have you on. I would encourage people to go check out your content, because I don't say that again because I know you. There's some really good videos that you've done, and the quality of your channel speaks for itself. I hope you keep making content. Check out my Facebook page. This is Finn. A little different than here on YouTube, but again, more candid. Closing remarks. You got anything you want to add before we sign off, brother?
Other than that, I mean, any people that are thinking about starting a YouTube channel, it's what you put into to get out. I've seen some guys that made an attempt, but then they didn't get what they wanted quickly. And some people get that spike boom that, people click with them. And there's all kinds of stuff you can do on YouTube, whether it's, I mean, one of the biggest channels for the longest time, he's like number 1 or 2. He did reviews on antique Barbie doll equipment. Yeah. And he was like number 2. This guy's making over $1 million a year on YouTube, and reviewing and displaying antique Barbie doll stuff from the 50s and such. It's what you put into it, man. And that because people always say, well, it's like me. I can't go watch a bunch of gun videos because I'm like, I already know that. I know that. It's like the Hickok 45 is a big YouTube gun channel.
Yeah.
And I loved watching his videos, but then it got to the point where, like, okay, he pulls out the new gun. This is a new gun, Bud Gun sent me, blah blah, and the gun. And you can go do your own research on the gun because you already know what he's going to do. He's going to talk about it, federal ammunition, give him a bunch of bullets to shoot. He's going to hit the big gong. He's going to do this and that. His son is going to be in the background shooting the video, or his son's taking over the channel. I don't know what. But you get an idea of to a point where, like, you only have to watch about 1 minute of his video so you can kind of stop, and because you already know the ending of the story already, because it's pretty much choreographed and repetitive. Routine. But you mean, if you put your heart into whatever it is you want to do, cooking, woodwork, I'm big into cowboy boots. I'm from Texas, and and I got into cowboy boots. I got heavily invested in that. There's a guy I know that started that, and man, he got a big following, and he got all kinds of people sending them boots for free, asking his review. And realistically, I'm like looking at him like, yeah, I'm not sure if you are the authority on cowboy boots, but whatever. And is what it is. But I mean, please, yeah, like, subscribe, Finn, support him, please. He's really making an honest effort of doing some great content, working at it, and eventually it'll build up to where I love seeing. Because realistically, I'll tell you right now, when I click on YouTube and I look at my subscription page, the people I subscribe to, it's boring. It's very political. Everything's
Right.
political. And then I'll see 1 or 2 or 3 guys. One thing I'm also into is learning how to fix cars. I'm a shade tree mechanic. I do what I can on my own vehicles, and I find that very interesting to deal with the doldrums. But there, even those people are saying that there's just no YouTube money anymore, so they're kind of cutting back. They're only focusing on stuff that will generate income, which isn't always a great thing because people sometimes want to see everything, and if you can't or see the smallest details, but they're just like they're looking at their analytics saying, hey, this video makes money, this video makes money, this video, I'm only going to do stuff in them. I'm not going to do their stuff, which honestly sometimes, and especially when YouTube channels blow up and then they go from being humble and modest to all of a sudden, like, look at me. And I'm
Right.
like, yeah, and I see that quite a bit. Some YouTube channels I really, really liked. I liked in the past that in the auto industry, gun industry, and so on. They start getting some money thrown at them, some attention, and they completely change their format. And they're nasty in the responses on the comments area. They don't take critique very well. I'm never negative or nasty to anybody, but when in the critique area, I'll just mention something. So I'm of the ideology that maybe I don't know exactly what's going on in the background that you're experiencing. So why should I sit there and just, down on you because my opinion is this?
Well, I made a promise to myself that with this project, I would keep it as real as possible. I would keep it as, unscripted and genuine as possible. And that's what I'm really trying to do. So whether or not anybody cares or whether or not anybody wants to listen, we shall see. But really, I'm just trying to express myself and my views and opinions. We have one more thing I want to address before we sign off here. Jeff wants to know thoughts on bushcraft cooking. So, if I may, I know absolutely nothing about bushcraft cooking. I see what he's asking. I see what he's talking about. I'm the kind of guy that would take, because I love camping and I love being outside. I'm the kind of guy that would take like an MRE or some wise food, dehydrated food type stuff with me into the wild. That's just my style. What would you do? How do you answer that as far as the bushcraft stuff goes? Because everything I would take with me is prefabricated and done for me. So
my experience is not specific to what he was asking. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, my dad would, they'd have a little pit. They wouldn't, of course, gonna haul up a big ass pit, like a 2,000-pound pit, or a large pit. They take a little camping pit and or something propane. The old day when he was that white gas pits from Coleman. And it was, not a pit, but it was like a grill with two lighters and have like a tank you would pump. And they would make do on that. I think what you're talking about is, or not you, Finn, but the comment is that you're talking about, like going out and just, making do with the elements. I don't have a bunch of experience outside, again, of using a Holloway pit that we would put out there and grill this and that, hot dogs, burgers, or fajita, and just get by with coolers, cooling down the meat. As far as in the wild elements, going and, killing a bird or a turkey or something and just going at it. I don't have experience like that. I've been around it, but not specifically. That's maybe a topic for another chat. I mean, maybe we can do a cooking chat, specifically where we can cover our experiences and this and that, and maybe do some research into it. But I don't have any specifics.
Well, yeah, and I'm not trying to speak for Jeff or what he commented, but he's a survivor. He's one of those guys that you definitely want on your squad should it hit the fan. But unfortunately, yeah, I'm sorry, brother. Like I don't have a lot of experience in that. I think I know a couple of people I would ask. There's definitely, I am plugged into people that would answer that better. But again, unfortunately, I'm that guy that would, we go camping together. I'm bringing the tent. I'm bringing the grill. I'm bringing some maybe MREs or something like that. I tend to be as minimalistic as possible. So in a situation like that, where I've got to be outside for an extended amount of time, I try to simplify the equation, and I try to take with me as little as possible, and that would include dehydrated food and stuff like that. But yeah, you're right. Maybe a topic for another day. Edge.
My daughter ate one of the MREs I bought from Top Brass, and she was looking at me because, man, the instruction list alone is like, geez, she was looking at me. I have to read all this. I go, I don't know. I've never had one of these, and I mean, this is calories. It's food. It's not a gourmet
It's just
meal.
matter. Yeah, it's just matter that you eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand people love the spaghetti and this and that, and some other ones that they make. But that one was rough that she had. It was so salty. Everything was so salty.
Yeah, it's preservatives and stuff like that. I really like the beef patty MRE. The beef ravioli was really good, and the menus have changed quite a bit. I see that
They're
at
gourmet
the
now.
store.
If you go third party, you can gourmet stuff.
Sure, and I still don't think there's anything wrong with like, hey man, we're gonna go camping the next couple of days. Let's bring these things. Like I've seen videos of guys that are cooking steaks. I mean, like porterhouses in New York Strip out of a cast iron at their campsite. It's like I can get into that. I can dig that. Just because you're roughing it and sleeping in a tent or sleeping in a hammock or something doesn't mean you can't have good eats. If you are able to prepare for that, you know what? All the power to you. I figure why not? What's our time?
Have you ever seen that show Alone? I watched it, and it's a show about these professionals that are in that hunting and wildlife bushcraft industry. And man, some of those guys lose their butts out there. These are guys that have been doing it for years, and they can't find anything to eat. They can't find a fish. They can't get a fish out of the lake. They can't even find worms to dig out of the ground to survive. And these are industry professionals or whatever. And I've seen them, man, where they fall apart, and they're like, because it's who can last the longest over so many days.
Right.
And you got to build shelter, build your fire, do all that crazy bushcraft stuff, and then find food. And some people get lucky and they'll get like a freaking bird or something to eat, and or a fish or a bunch of fish, but not everybody does.
That's something that I am fairly confident in. I do consider myself an angler, more freshwater than anything, but I can pull a fish, catfish, trout, bass, whatever. I can pull one out of the water, clean it, and cook it for you, no problem. That's one thing that I'm very confident in. I've never shot a deer. I've never shot a hog. I've never shot a turkey, for that matter.
I wanted to.
I have gone fowling. I have done duck hunting, and my grandfather cleaned them, and we ate them. But yeah, that was all him when he was alive. But
I've been at a ranch where aggressive geese and turkeys are like, okay, dude, you're about to end up on the dinner plate because you F off and leave me alone. Minding my own business, mind yours.
Right. Well, we're about at the hour mark. So, Edge, it was an honor to have you. Again, to anybody watching this, check out EDGE4006 on YouTube. Subscribe. Please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook. I do content pretty regularly there. But it was an honor and a privilege talking to you, my brother. I hope we can get together soon. I know we keep talking about it, and life happens. But yeah,
I see your activity on Facebook, and I'm like, good Lord, this man is a busy guy. Because I would have caved a long time ago with your extracurricular activities and your workload and the kid and life the way it rolls. I mean, I would have fallen over 2 years ago.
I get that a lot. Guy. Yeah, I get that a lot. My boss said something the other day where he was like, man, and I don't know if it's a compliment or if it's just an observation, but he's like, yeah, man, you're the busiest guy I know. I do have a lot of commitments. I do have my family, but I'll be in here and I'll be doing my work here too. So I will always find time. And like I said, I'll always make time for you, brother. You want to go out and grab a bite and or go blow some stuff up and shoot some guns, I'm down for that too.
Yeah, I look at your schedule and I get exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that a lot. But yeah, it's been a privilege talking to you, and I will definitely see you down the road. I'm going to get you back on the show a little bit later. So thanks again, buddy.
Right on, man. Everybody stay safe out there and take care of yourselves and do what you can, man, to stay healthy
You too. All right. Have a good night.
as well.